So there's been a trend going on TikTok over the last couple of days that liberal women have latched onto. And it was started by an individual named Nikali who decided to conduct this little social experiment to call churches and just randomly ask them if they could help her buy formula for her baby. Now, she admits this baby does not exist, but she says the point of this experiment is to see if our church dollars are really going to help the needy and help the poor, and if our churches are being honest about the way that they're spending money. Now, I have no problem with anybody asking this question. As somebody who has gone to church my entire life, I want to know that the money that I am giving to my church is being used for the purposes that they say that it is being used for. I wish we could expect the same from our federal government, but if I'm going to give to anybody voluntarily, it will be a church 1,000 times over before I ever give any more to the federal government than I absolutely have to. But that is another conversation for another day. I have no problem, again, with anybody asking this question. The problem is that there are so many flaws in this social experiment, and what it is resulting in is now just this trend that is blowing up, and it has liberal women latching onto it because, one, they've realized that calling and harassing churches is going to help them earn money on social media, and two, it is very clear that liberal women have a particular hostility toward Christian churches, and this just adds to that. It is just one more way for them to attack these institutions. There is no positive or helpful intent in doing this. It is purely just to find one more reason to attack churches. So let's get into this experiment to see how these things have resulted and where I think there might be positive things that could come from it, but mostly where I think this could actually do more harm than good. But before we get too much further, I am Outspoken Samantha. Thank you so much for being here. Please hit the like button on this video and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate you so much for doing both of those things. So we're just going to get right into this. And as we are going through some of these videos, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below, because I do think that this is an interesting and important conversation. I just think that the people conducting it and who are spearheading it have nothing but malicious intent. So let's start. This is the video that kind of started this whole thing. This is a content creator named Nikali, and this is what she says her intentions were for starting this trend.
You might give, your last few dollars to church. And I'm curious if that church actually helps your community or not, or if they just pocket your money. So I'm actually going to be testing and seeing if local churches in my area first are willing to help somebody that's in need when they call up and ask for help, or, kind of like what the response is in general that they give me. I honestly don't know if they're going to be willing to help somebody in need, or if they're going to be like, no, sorry, we can't help you. And I honestly, my take on it, my personal beliefs, because I don't go to church, is that they're not going to want to help anybody that doesn't specifically want to go to a church or interested in going to a church or doesn't already attend their church. That's my view. That is my personal view. I want to be proven wrong. Okay, I want y'all to know that. I want to be proven wrong. But I am going to test it.
Right, so we can already see all of the flaws in just what she's saying. She says that her intent is, because she started out by saying, are they using your money to help, or are they just pocketing the money? That's what she wants to find out. But then she says, if I call them up and they said that they won't help me and they're only helping members that go to that church, then that's a problem. But obviously that doesn't mean that they're just pocketing the money. It means that the people that go to that church are going to be the first priority. And if we're going to compare this to the federal government, we should expect that if we're the ones paying into the system, that we should be the first priority. But in neither of these cases does that logic enter into the equation. But again, there's already flaws in what she's saying she wants to accomplish versus the answer that she's giving, whether or not that proves the initial thing that she said. So we're going to look at some of the churches that she calls, and I want you to listen to how the conversation goes. And keep in mind that she does not have a baby, and she's using a fake baby sound in the background to make it seem like she does. So that's the premise here. But let's just listen. This is specifically a church that she chose that says it's Charlie Kirk's church. Dream City Church in Phoenix, Arizona. So here.
I just want to see if there's any way y'all can help with a small can of baby formula. I've been out since last night, and my daughter, she's not 8 since last night, and she's only 2 months old, and I've been calling everywhere, and they're just telling me to keep calling churches.
Okay, so we have you ever heard of Mom's Pantry?
Yes, I already tried them. They don't have any formula.
Okay, that's our only connection to like our food bank ministry. So if they don't have any baby formula, then we don't have any in our office that we could provide.
Okay, would it be something that you all would be able to get and I just pick it up?
Let me connect you with our care pastor. She handles all of the connections and our resources that we're able to give out.
Thank you.
So I did listen to the rest of this video, and basically what happens is she contacts this lady. She says, we don't have this available, but we are connected to this specific charitable organization, Mom's Pantry, that does specifically handle moms, babies, formula, those kind of items. She says she already called them. I'm going to bet she didn't call them. She's calling with the 100% intention that you need to have this on hand. And if you don't, then she marks them as unwilling to help, even though this woman directed her, had the contact information of somebody that she knew would most likely have that item on hand. She marks them as unwilling to help. And then she directed her towards the person that actually handles those resources in the church. That person was not able to answer the phone. And because she directed her to the person that handles those things, again, this entire conversation was marked unwilling to help a starving baby. And this is what she's using to reach the conclusion that we don't know where our money is going in the church, that we are being scammed, basically. And the whole thing that she is trying to prove is that Christians are hypocrites. There's so many flaws in this social experiment. But let's listen to one more call.
Hi, yeah, I was wanting to see if you all could help with a small can of baby formula.
Everything up with what, I'm sorry?
Like a small can of baby formula.
Let me get the pastor on call for you. Let me put you on hold.
Okay.
Options have changed.
Thank you, ma'am. I saw you hung up, and I was like, oh no, I'm going to call her back. But my system, and I usually print it out, but I didn't this time. But I'm just gonna walk back here and see. Okay.
Hello.
Hi, yes. I was just wanting to see if y'all were able to help with baby formula at all.
We unfortunately are not. We have a benevolence program, but it is for our members.
It's just for the members, because like I have a 2-month-old and she hasn't ate like since last night, so she's gone all night, all day without any formula. Like I don't need money or anything. I just need like a small little can, and I've been calling everywhere, and they're just telling me to call churches, and I just don't know what else to do.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have any formula here to give out. We don't have any kind of food bank or anything like that.
Would it be something y'all could get and I could pick it up?
What's that?
Would it be something you all would be able to get and I could pick it up?
Well, like I said, if it's anything like that, our benevolence is for our members.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So those were just a couple of the calls on her page. There were a couple that did say yes. There were a couple of people that were trying to figure out, how can I meet you at the grocery store? How can I go get this myself and have you meet me here, or whatever it is? And I completely appreciate that. And I do think that I'm going to shed some positive light on this, is that when we see this happening, that we can look at this and say, this is an area that we can improve in, because obviously, especially with the cost of living still being high, even though it is coming down, whether you want to believe it or not, the SNAP benefits shut down and so many more people being reliant on government assistance than we've ever had before. And just a combination of factors, the need for helping our community is going up. So it's important to be able to see this and say, okay, how can we improve, whether it be something that we keep in stock in our churches more of, or that we have more connections and more networking with places that do keep those things on hand? Like, can we make sure this need is met immediately if it's something that we are faced with? Because a lot of times you don't know what you need to improve until you're faced with that challenge. And then you're like, okay, like I feel terrible for not being able to address that in the moment. So how can we better our service in the future? I am 100% in favor of that. What I don't love is that the people that she marks as unwilling to help, she consistently ignores countless people that say we do have a food pantry. It's not open right now, or the person that runs it is not in there right now, or whatever it is. And that is something that she marks as her initial agenda or goal with this experiment, as being somebody that scams their members, that churches aren't living up to the things that they say that they live up to. Like, that is the conclusion that people need to keep in mind, because that is what she's trying to prove. I know she keeps saying that these people are unwilling to help a starving baby, but ultimately that was not her goal in this project. She is trying to prove that we don't know where our money is going as church members, and that we're really just being scammed, and that we're not as pro-life as we say we are, because pro-life is something that she brings out in a number of these conversations as well. Like, aren't you a pro-life church? Why aren't you willing to help me? So there's a number of different flaws in this social experiment. But the worst part is that now there are a number of liberal women who have got online and they're like, oh, I can make money doing this as well. I'm going to call and harass these churches. I'm going to post it online and encourage other people to do the same.
Take a walk with me through Germantown Baptist Church's Facebook comments. They are lighting them up. If you don't know why I'm doing this, look up a creator called Natalie. She is calling churches to see if they will buy formula for her baby that is crying. It's just a test to see if they have their benevolence right, you know? Germantown Baptist Church in Tennessee said that, no, we're not paying benevolences for members only. Members only? Anyways, I wanted to see if they were getting the proper hate they should on all platforms. And here's their latest post on Facebook. The comments are amazing. They do not disappoint. One here says, how can you listen to a screaming baby in the background when saying she needs formula and turn them away? No advice or help at all. Then we have nothing like a church audit to know how they really treat the needy. Absolutely disgusting. This one says, can't imagine hearing starving 2-month-old baby cry in the background and respond with, our benevolence is for our members only. What a disgrace to Christ and God. How do you sleep at night?
As you heard, she's saying they are getting the hate that they deserve. And I think it's really unfortunate when members themselves are influenced by these TikTok trends as well, without considering, okay, this is obviously a problem. We want to make sure that this need is met. How can we come together as a congregation and perhaps change how our organization runs so that this doesn't happen again? Instead, they're joining in the attacks of their own church. Again, I have no problem with asking these questions. I have been going to church my entire life, but I am also grateful that so many of these organizations are so organized with how they do help the needy and the poor, because we want to make sure that the need is legitimate and that it's not geared towards permanent reliance. I know that in my church, when you go and you ask for help, yes, they will help. We have gotten help from our church numerous times, but they also sit down with us to assess where our needs are and where we can improve our own lives for the long term, so that we don't have to keep coming to people to ask for help, because the best thing that we can do for ourselves is learn how to take care of ourselves. And the better that we take care of ourselves, then we can help the next person in need as well. But this entire experiment is so counterproductive. And my question to these women is, what are you doing to help? Who are you donating to? What charities are you giving to? Because I give to my church, I give to charities. When I go to church, a lot of our activities for adults and for youth is centered on service. Where is there a need in our community? How can we teach our church members to serve? What items can we gather that a charity in our area might need that, they might not be able to come to our building specifically and get it, but if we can round up stuff from our members and give it to a charity that might need to stock up on a particular item, then we can help in that way. Like, we're always focused on how we can help people in the community. And if this was me and I needed formula for my child, I would be Google searching what organizations specifically carry formula and cater to these specific needs, instead of expecting any random church or organization to have that specific item on hand, because this entire thing is operating on the premise that there's just some kind of cash box sitting in the back of the church that we can just pull from when people need it, or that the back of the chapel looks like a Walmart. Another thing that I saw people say a lot is, if that were me and I answered the phone, I would just run out and meet them at the grocery store or have them come and meet me at the church. And I love the idea of that, But as these women are proving, as they're calling churches, because there's more people doing this now, they're proving that they are just lying to the people on the phone, that they can fake having a baby, and that they can lure people out of the building. And not everybody does that is going to be a safe person. How do you know for sure that that person has an actual need? How do you know that they're not they don't have some other kind of scary intent between that phone call? And all these people are doing when they do this, and encouraging more people to call these churches and harass them, is lowering that trust. It's like, okay, well now, I didn't think that I needed to question people on the phone. I didn't think they would lie about having a need, but now I do have to question that. And that, willingness and to help is going to go down, because they're going to feel like they need to ask more questions and be more skeptical. So you're not helping at all. And I wish that these women had as much skepticism and as much criticism for how our taxpayer dollars are being used, because all they're doing is criticizing how churches that they don't go to and don't understand, criticizing how they're run based on one singular question on the phone. But when it comes to our federal tax dollars, they don't want to know how that money is being spent. They don't want any criticism of our government run programs. They don't want to remove fraud and abuse, yet they're criticizing church organizations that actually are accountable to their members and do have to track every single dollar that's being spent. And they do have to show their church members where that money went. And therefore they need to have a very specific process for people that need help in order to do that. If they just start handing things out and they don't have a way to tell members where that money is going and that they verified that that money was being used for that right purpose, then they're going to have fewer people donating there as well. And then everybody goes without. The whole thing is just completely insane, and just one more way that liberal women seem to have woken up today and said, how can I tear something else down? How can I destroy one more thing that is doing good in the world? How can I discredit something that is actually helping people? Because it's either doing this and calling churches and harassing them for not being able to have a can of formula on hand, or they're going out in the streets and they're burning things down and setting fires. All these people know how to do is destroy, destroy, destroy. They don't know how to build anything up. But that is all I have for you with this one. I would love to hear what you guys think in the comments below. Please hit the like button on this video and subscribe to my channel. As you guys know, we always end with Charlie Kirk. So keep it real, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.
Before I persuade you on the existence of God, I bet I can get you closer to the idea of the necessity of believing in a God. And that if you do not believe in a God that is transcendent above you, how do you act? Where do you know what is right or wrong, or good or evil? And before you say it's just built into me, that's complete rubbish. We know that. You can visit country after country in the third world of how they treat children, of how they treat women. It is not natural to do what we've done here in the West. You think it's natural because you've been raised in a Western construct. And so when the population looks at the Ten Commandments, for example, and they just look at it as like some nice life advice or some good ideas, it loses its zing or its spice to be able to actually put a population back towards ethical behavior. The Ten Commandments worked to build Western society because you had a population that believed that if they didn't follow the Ten Commandments, that God would judge them, and that God wanted them to live that way.